Hey team, how's it going? Well, just like Brad said, I'm fired up, and good thing this roof's not a foot shorter because I'd be blasting through it right now. I'm so honored to be here, so thrilled, deeply appreciative, like Bill said, of the journey we've been on. And I've been asked to share a few remarks about this last 13 months of building CropMobster, this journey we've been on. And you know what? Things have been moving so fast. It's kind of like we're a biofueled NASCAR ripping around the track. Sometimes it's hard to step back and reflect on what the heck is happening. And I'm very much in that space of getting it done. So having this opportunity to step back and maybe offer some value to you is, let's get to it. You're paying customers at this conference. That's our job as speakers, add value to you as customers. Just a great honor. A little bit about me. Here's how I roll. For better or worse, plant a lot of seeds when it comes to innovation. Only some of them are going to sprout, but that's my, I think, biggest strength and probably my biggest confession to make. If there's a Betty Ford clinic for domain names, I would be guaranteed their best customer. They'd give me the suite, and I wouldn't be here today. Here's our story, plain and simple. And as much as sustainability is about measuring impact and delivering results, it's really about these stories. So I'm standing in the veggie cooler on our farm last year in early March. We've been growing our family farming business. As Bill mentioned, I'm the general manager, or was until I dedicated my life to this project of Bloomfield Organics. We had grown our business, grown our accounts, our sales were taking off, but we still had a ton of problems. And I'm looking in the veggie cooler on a Sunday night, drinking a beer, Lagunitas actually, so we're going local. And I look at 20 boxes of food that's just sitting here, and I've been seeing it for 8 months, but it just never triggered in my mind. I said, Jiminy Christmas, this has been going to chickens in the compost pile. Our farm's losing money. Our community's losing out. People need that food. And man, let's get her done. And so I whipped out this deal here. I'm going to ask you to use this in a little bit. And we had built a Facebook community that was at 3 people when I started, and we got it up to 600 or 700 or something. And I just told our crowd an honest story. I just said, hey, look, we've got this food. It's going to waste. We're losing money. We're losing an opportunity to get to know you as customers. And we made an alert on Facebook. And a little bit later, this lady texted me, I'm in. And she said, I'm going to come out tomorrow in my minivan, and I'm going to deliver it to families. So we were able to recover some of our costs, 20 families. Santa Rosa got affordable, healthy, local food. So I knew we were onto something. Next weekend, I did another experiment, this time a donation, and it worked. Within 45 minutes, a hunger relief group said, we're in. We found a home for our food. This time it was a donation. We've had a lot of opportunities to make donations, but a lot of times the groups just aren't ready when the vegetables are. That's where crowdsourcing comes into play. And that was the start of CropMobster.com. And here's how it works. A community-wide instant alert system. Anytime food or any other materials are at risk of going to waste, instant alert out to all of you alls. And our hope is to inspire you enough about that individual emergency so you'll start sharing via social media and crowdsource a home for that food. The problems we solve, as Bill mentioned, food waste. I had no clue about this, but the UN and others have just put a number on this. Massive opportunity. And it's going to connect with what that brother Huffman said a little bit earlier. Food waste, 40% of all food in this country, 1/3 globally wasted. That's crazy. 1 in 6 people in the US, food insecure, 1 billion globally. I mean, with all that food, right? Isn't that sort of nuts? And then another thing that needs to be mentioned is the folks at the pillar of the food system, farmers, are losing money. In this state, 53% of small farms, about 25,000 farms, do not report a profit each year. So that's pretty bad too. Now let's hone in on food waste. We're talking about a very political and contentious issue, but if food waste were a country, it would be the largest emitter of greenhouse gas emissions behind China and the United States. So talk about an opportunity to tackle this thorny topic which envelops all of us with concern without even really talking about it. Let's get food to people, and along the way, if we can reroute it from the dump, we'll be addressing climate change. That's a big deal right there. That's a big deal. And so last year, and I'm sure I'm going to get the hook here pretty soon. Let me know when it's at 10 minutes because I'm pretty fired up. Pam Rosen of Amy's Kitchen said, Nick, will you be my date to this conference? And I came with 3 issues. We're already 10 minutes in? Giddy up. Whoa. And I said, first, what's that? Oh, cool. Woo. It's like, man, time flies. Anyhow, I can slow down a little bit. So I came with 3 things. First of all, I wanted to see Genevieve, Chris, and Terry. Genevieve, I had lost track with for many years. Chris, I rocked a hike on Mount Diablo. a long time ago, and I was like, I know they've been instrumental in this event, but guess what? I get here and they're popping out a baby, so I didn't even get to see them. But last year, about a year ago, Genevieve, you produced one of the most amazing things that really it's what we're here about, right? It's our future. So good to see you. Congratulations to you, Chris, and Terry, who, man, for 43, you look pretty good for a grandfather. Any rate, so the next one was the most amazing business here that has the best placement is Create the Good Life, Eric and Beth. So I come in, I'm trying to figure my stuff out, and luckily they're placed near the bathroom where all of us are going to go, talk about a good location for business. And I walk by, and I had a wonderful session with them. And then I came in here with one mission, knowing that we had a good idea and knowing that we needed help and had something to offer. We weren't here to get, we were here to give and hopefully get some help along the way. And so pretty much every one of the keynotes from Google to Bill to Brad to elected officials, I cornered and I pretty much threw the sheetrock. You know, I was like, we need help, we've got something to offer. Up to 50 people, and that was my mission, get some help, get that little bit of momentum. And I am so honored and impressed that Bill and Kirsten at Sonoma State, after I let this crazy email rip after the conference, they actually responded. And they said, get in our office right away, we want to help. And I actually read the email, Bill, last night, and actually it was pretty damn good. I thought it was going to be some Jack Kerouac crazy talk, and you know, it worked. And so they got us in our office the next week. They helped us formulate our pitch. They got us to the Sierra Nevada Innovation Challenge. I think about 2 weeks after that, we won first place out of 50 companies, some of them making millions of dollars. So that's where it was on. And this community, this tribe, and Sonoma State, led by Bill, was instrumental in getting us that little push. And that's really what for every one of me up here, there's about a dozen of you out there that need that push, so I hope you get what you're looking for today, and thank you very much. The results, we're 13 months in, over 500,000 pounds of food saved, over $500,000 in the bank for small farmers, over 1 million servings. What's most inspiring is all the impact that we can't yet measure. Greenhouse gas reductions from that 500,000 pounds of food, about 200 rerouted from the dump. The 6,000 people, the CropMobsters that are fired up every day in this community and elsewhere to get it done. So they help themselves, but also help others. And I think that gets at the root of why we're here. And then the unmeasurables. A lot of times, really, sustainability, I'll get in this in a second, is about the measurables, but it's about the unmeasurables, those stories of impact. And typically, we don't do a good job at all at highlighting our impact. And so that's one of the things I really focus on. And John Garn right here has been instrumental in my career in measuring impact and helping me learn how to tell stories of impact. We have a lot of awards. I'm not going to get into that. The only thing that matters if we've won any of them is that it puts our community, our business, and this tribe on the map. We were just selected as one of 100 entrepreneurs to advise the United Nations on how entrepreneurship can help tackle these global problems. So I just want to report that out today, last week. And we just received our first paying client, the city of Elk Grove. When other leaders and mayors and others are still holding off, they said, we want you to pilot your model in our city. So we started to put some money in the bank, and we've got a little movement started over there in Sacramento as our pilot project. We're hoping for it to grow. Stepping back, I'm going to just rattle through these. The number one thing, when we think of sustainable enterprise, for me, very important. It's what draws us all in here. But what does it mean? We've heard different interpretations already. For me, it's impact. In order to create a sustainable enterprise, you have to start with impact. And then you have to extract where you're creating value. And only then can you start wrapping a business model around it. Too often we get rolling, we're like, I'm going to create a business, and we don't know what impact or value we're creating. So that's kind of hard to do. The next one is trust. I would venture to say that the biggest opportunity for all of us in an era of being backdoored and being advertised on when people don't have a permission to advertise on our mental property is the biggest opportunity is building trust around your brand and your model so deep and such a deep connection that people want to duct tape themselves to your brand, and you've got partners and family members and customers for life. Secondly, our entire economy is based on commodity transactions, whether it's energy or Cliff Bar or in my case, food. We've commoditized pretty much everything. So if we can take the leap and wrap every transaction, every exchange with meaning and community, I really think that's where it's at. And that's been a key to our current momentum and success so far. Secondly, context and systems thinking. We go to the food session or the energy session or the water session, a lot of great sessions, but the real opportunity and magic is connecting the dots and playing around in that space in between these different seemingly disparate sectors. having that context, whether you're in food and then looking at climate change or public health or energy at the same time, that's where the value lives, I think, for the next level of transformative business models like what we're working on at CropMobster. And we don't teach systems thinking, and we don't think about how to get kids and students into generating context too much. It's about content, right? So let's move it over to thinking about the big picture and context. That's where the opportunity lives. And John Garn right here was my first context mentor back in the day when we were partners at ViewCraft. Before I even had a degree, we were working this stuff, and I can't thank you enough for your role in CropMobster as an advisor, just like Bill. And momentum. The most important thing when you're an upstart who hasn't made it yet like we have is momentum. So every day we're scraping and clawing and digging for momentum. We call it a ball of fire, and every day we're trying to find some WD-40, whether it's impact or trust or some other actual result to spray on that ball of fire to keep us rolling. We're getting going. Growth mindset, that's the biggest thing too to talk about. There's a lady out of Stanford, Carol Dweck. She wrote a book on mindset. She actually studies the mindset of people who are successful, whether it's just a dad or a mom or a business leader, and those who aren't. And really, it boils down to having a growth mindset. When you're confronted by challenges like I was in the vegetable cooler that day, are you going to sit back and say, I can't tackle it? Or are you going to just let it rip and go for it? So growth mindset is critical. That's a major, important book I'd like you to read. What do we got, about 2 minutes left here? All righty. And one of my advisors, John Kunzweiler, is a fellow at the Aspen Institute. We've had an incredible journey the last year. For every up, we've had 10 downs. And we've made some big decisions. For every journey up to now, there are 3 or 4 pivotal decisions that need to be made. And a lot of times it's when you're wrong. And so we had a business model, I'll get into it later, where after we looked at the data, after we heard no from 30 of the most wealthy venture capital and even social impact investors, we had to look within ourselves and say, number one, our model's wrong based on the data. And number two, even if it was right, it doesn't fit what our strengths and what our heart says in terms of what we need to do. So once we turned our model and did a pivot or just made a better decision, we were on, had a first client within the week. We knew where we were going. And the second decision I think is coming up here real soon. And so not only, just to be open with you, I'm a little nervous. I know we're going to get there, but man, it's just as a leader, you keep having these milestones you need to hit. Helpful critique versus naysayers. This is a fun one. 95%. So many people have helped us along the journey. My only hope is I can give a big thanks to everyone who's done something to help this CropMobster journey. Don't know if that'll be possible. It's important to get over yourself, listen, realize that you need to improve, and then show these folks that they matter by incorporating rapidly their feedback, like we did Bill's, into our improvements, and then say thanks. We have at CropMobster, we have a type of alert called the thank you alert. It's simply for people to thank each other for generating impact. And then here's a fun one too. This is where you really have to have that gut of steel. We have run into so many people who told us what we were doing would never work, right? And that's important. Listen, but once you realize that they're flat out crazy, it's okay. It's okay. I see a lady clapping back there. Even if it's just within your mind to make you feel better and have a little catharsis, you tell them to go, suck start the muffler of a Prius, and move on, serious. And if they complain, here's the deal. Tell them at least it's not a jacked up Silverado 1984 style, because it'll be a lot less healthy. So you are your own expert. The buck or the Bitcoin or the Baybucks, I heard Baybucks' brother was here today, stops with you. And you know what you're doing. So keep rolling, roll right through the naysayers, because they're always going to be there. So in summary, deep thanks to everyone here. I hope that you receive tremendous value today from this conference. You get in what you get out in many respects. We'll have a session for 40 minutes, have a little bit of a game plan, but what I really want to know is what fires you up about what we're doing, and if we can start a dialogue about helping you out. And then at the end of the day, Howard Buffett received a big old chunk of change from his father, Warren, wrote a book, 40 Chances, committed his life to changing the food system. And here's a good analogy for you. He said, what inspired me to title this book was talking to farmers at a John Deere conference. He said, in life, just as farming, you got 40 seasons to get it done. And so I'm just thankful for the opportunity to make the most out of this 1 or 2 seasons I've got here with this project, and really just want to encourage you to make the most of it there. And finally, I told you I'd ask you to whip out these devices. So enough of the theory, and Hard on the sleeve, Nikki Bobby talk here. This is about results. Yesterday, we had a farm post an alert from out of county. They have $1 million in cash. They want to buy 8 to 20 acres in Sonoma County to build an additional sustainable ag model that gets young farmers onto the land to grow and incubate their businesses. Please share that alert. It's on CropMobster.com right now, Facebook or Twitter. Secondly, Raley's, first one we've worked with who hasn't said we won't work with you. Raley's just jumped on board. They have dollars to invest in local farms that are willing to, within 50 miles of each of their 100 stores. So a lot of money on the table. Please share that alert to any farmer you know. I know you know someone who knows a farmer, or you know a farmer. And there are others. If each of you could sign up today for CropMobster, it'd be an honor to have you in the community, and then share those alerts, and you will see remarkable impact on a myriad of different issues. So thank you very much, and let's get her done today, okay?